The ballroom actually only lasted 3 years under its original management, and that's because it was conceived originally as an elite ballroom, so prices were very high. There was a very strict dress code. Not everybody could get into this ballroom. You had to be dressed to the nines, and usually you'd have to come to the ballroom in a chauffeured automobile. There wasn't enough of a clientele to sustain a regular business, so the overhead was so expensive. The performers had to be paid. In fact, the performers, Joe Farron and the rest, ended up suing the ballroom management in '36 after it went bankrupt for back pay. But so it couldn't sustain the elite clientele. And in 1936 it was sold off and eventually bought up by another group of entrepreneurs who turned it into a taxi dance hall. And that was the most successful model of nightlife in Shanghai during the 1930s. It was a much more mainstream form of nightlife, where a ballroom would hire professional dance hostesses. So these were young women, usually 15 to 25 years of age, who would dress up, coif themselves, hairstyles, etc. Taxi dancer, that was a label that I believe originated in America, but the taxi dance halls were called that way because the hostesses there were metered on the dance floor at a dime a dance. So this was true in Shanghai as well. In the 1930s, taxi dancers were the dominant mainstream form of dance hall nightlife. So a dance hall would hire maybe 100 or so hostesses, and you had to pay a hostess with a dance ticket. So you bought a ticket at the door, paid the hostess a ticket per dance, and danced with her. And then, so the Paramount Ballroom switched to a taxi dance hall. It hired hostesses, and it remained that way up through the 1940s and up until 1954, when the communist government shut it down as a dance hall. After the Communist Revolution in 1949, the Communist Party shut down all the dance halls in Shanghai because they were considered vice industries. And the Paramount was converted in 1954 to an opera house that showed more revolutionary styles of opera and entertainment, socialist entertainment for the urban masses. And it remained that way up until the 1980s, when it was converted into a multifunctional entertainment center. There was a cinema on one floor, karaoke rooms in another floor, a cafe, and eventually, I think in the 1990s, they introduced dancing again. And so it underwent all these permutations in the 1980s and 90s, was completely restructured in the interior.